stop me before I begin.
This is how it happened. This is how the Joker died.
We're almost there, Batman. Now that you're going to get to Gotham City, it's time you bring yourself back to the game as Bruce Wayne. Why? Because it's time we go fight and punch crime in the face. This is Arkham Twin Days. Hi there, viewers. I am Leo Wolverine, your game commentator and founding member of Leo's Let's Plays Alliance. As we're going to conclude the final story of the Dark Knight Rises movie, and so for that, we are going to do it. So, let's begin. Alright, Bruce Wayne is going to arrive somewhere near the city of Gotham. How does he do it? I'm guessing by plane, or how did he... I'm not sure how he teleports, but he gets there, so that's what the movie goes. So you see Selina Kyle, that will show up in a moment, but there's this little boy who is who wants to find an apple. And so, yes, and then these couple of crooks that says it's not, hey, that's my food or some sort, and they're gonna try to beat up this helpless child, and then all of a sudden, Catwoman appears, and beats the crap out of these two guys, and it says, "Don't take something that doesn't belong to you." And then she bites the apple, hands it over to this kid, and gives it by giving it back. So yeah, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And now that Batman wants to get back into the game, he wants to he wants to start up as Bruce Wayne, and he tells Selina Kyle, and he tells Selina Kyle about this clean slate, the program that wipes away a clean identity, name, state, date of birth, year, and not to mention what country. Because he says it does. He says my powerful friend tells me it does exist, and he's gonna get it. And now, to be honest, why he says my powerful friend has it, it's because why did Bane said it's Bruce Wayne is Batman? Because he said Mr. Wayne. That's a continuity error on that movie. Selina Kyle knows it's Bruce Wayne is Batman, but I don't get why would he say Bruce Wayne says my powerful friend is there, because what Selina Kyle would think is, what do you think I am, stupid? I know, of course I know your secret identity because Bane says your name, Batman. What does it look like? It's continuity error, but it didn't show up right from what was that going on with it. It's like, really? It doesn't make... That kind of didn't make sense. I understand the part that his identity's been revealed when Bane said Mr. Wayne to Batman, but Bruce Wayne I don't know, did Bruce Wayne kind of forgot, or did the people kind of add the dialogue by saying, we're gonna make Bruce Wayne kind of have a short-term memory span, then now he finally remembers. Like, what? I'm guessing he's kind of obsessed with an OCD type of style work. And so for now, as we move along, and he's gonna get back into the game, so he wants it. So Selina Kyle, Bruce tells him that he wants to go. He has something that he can come up with, but he needs to get to Lucius Fox and to Miranda as well. And now, Selina Kyle has got Bruce Wayne. It takes to Lucius Fox, And now to Miranda, and he says, and Bruce Wayne says, I need you to get me back into the game. Tells that to Lucius Fox. He says, with all this going around, we got something up on our sleeves or something like that. Okay, so he has to be escorted out of here. But the only way to do that is to be escorted out of here is to get escorted by the name of Catwoman. And so, and guess what? Catwoman is going to beat the crap out of Bane's mercenaries. So yeah, she's gonna do that. And finally, guess what happens next? Catwoman's absolutely freed Bruce and Lucius Fox, and Lucius Fox says, "Nice girlfriend you have there." It's like, sure. That is awesome, isn't it? To have a cool cat-like girlfriend who is not Black Cat from the Marvel Universe. But anything can happen. So, why not we give an oldie but a goodie? And so, now that Batman is back on the job, and he's gonna get his work cut out, and you see the bat suit. Of course, Lucius Fox knows who the Batman is. You didn't think he knew this all along? Oh, come on. You know this better than I do. I mean, really. So, now that Batman is back to work, Bruce Wayne can fight crime once again and try to stop Bane, but he's going to have to send out a very powerful signal that he's signaling to all of Gotham and its citizens that he is back. So, Mick, where is Foley? Officer Foley, I mean, he went home because he knew the bomb was going to go off in less than 12 hours. And James Gordon says, you don't know if that's going to work. There's always hope, and keep your head down. And so even though, oh boy, yeah, if only Foley knew that things were gonna go from bad to worse, but he had to do something about it. Of course, if you don't do something about it, Officer Foley, that bomb is gonna go off in less than 12 hours. So, hopefully, if Officer Foley would get the treatment of encouragement that he will find soon, hiding from his wife. And so, for that matter, as we move along, now that, hopefully to try to find the nuclear bomb, that James Gordon, the commissioner, and most of the officers of the GCPD will have one last chance to grab the nuclear bomb device that will go off in less than 12 hours, but they were caught by Bane's mercenaries and under the arrest of the citizens of the people of Gotham. And now he says, and now there is Dr. Jonathan Crane serves as the judge. And he has to say, death or exile. And James Gordon says, if you think we're going to go walk into that icy cold water, you got another thing coming. And guess what? And Jonathan Crane says, very well then, death by exile. So that's the easiest way for him. They got to walk on the icy river so they can get themselves to the other side. But then he notices that and James Gordon sees looks like a flare And then you see these mercenaries getting hit by batarangs with, like this, the tranquilizer batarangs, but they're not tranquilizer darts because they kind of fell asleep all of a sudden. And now Batman says, light it up. And then you hear this tense music. And then Jim Gordon turns on the flare, lights it up on where the starts with the powder of, or the gunpowder, or the burning powder, and then goes up where the flare begins the ignition, and guess where it's gonna end up with? The huge, giant, fiery, flaming bat symbol of this is how it happened. This is how the Batman died, along with the Joker thing. So I am not even flinching. So yes, I guess this is how it happened. This is how the Batman died as the Joker, or as myself, or whichever works best. So for that, or, you know, even though if you're watching the movie. So for that, now that Batman is back and Bane says, impossible. Stay near her, they're going to come to get her immediately. And so, yeah. And now you're going to see a Western standoff with the GCPD, and before that happens, and then Batman, most of the GCPD officers are going to get out of the sewers, who have been trapped down there for like almost 9 months, and Officer John Blake is going to break them out, and then the mercenaries were kind of, no, he was there, I'm pretty sure the location. But now that Batman's there, he kicks butt in front of the mercenaries and saves Detective John Blake's life. And Batman says, he says something about, if you want to take down opponents, wear a mask. And Detective John Blake says, I'm not afraid to stand up against these guys. And Batman hands a device to Officer John Blake, and he tells him, count to 5, then throw it. And then he throws it at that broken, huge, collapsed tunnel, and John says, hey, no offense, but you got anything bigger than that belt? And yes, it's the bat. He fires along the tunnel, and now he gets out of the way, and now that Batman has freed the entire GCPD army that were trapped in the tunnel for almost 9 months. And now that John Blake wants to join in the hustle of the standoff, but Batman gives him a special mission. And he says something about in case we fail, I need you to lead an exodus. And yes, and he starts with the children, and hopefully, and Batman says thanks. I mean, John Blake says thank you, and Batman says, don't thank me yet. So now that Batman has got an army of GCPD officers, they're going to take the fight to Gotham's GCPD. So yeah. However, if you want to know where the fight actually began, it was snowing outside of Gotham, but it was in the summertime in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in downtown Pittsburgh, during the hot weather, because there was no snow in Pittsburgh because it was in the summertime of 2012. So, or 2011. I mean, what do they have to do? Throw in a box of snowflakes of soap, perhaps? Because Hey, it's so cold, but it's so hot under the sun. We need water. It was the most. Oh my! It was during the hot. I'm pretty sure the staff crew and the crew were trying to get everyone hydrated so they wouldn't pass out under the sun during the city of Pittsburgh. I'm not sure how hot it was, but it was pretty hot in the city of Pittsburgh. Like it was in New York, but it was not far south, I'll give you that. It was pretty hot area conditions under the weather. There was this intense battle. Now John Blake has tell all the kids to go and tell that the Batman is back and everybody needs to evacuate into the buses. And so for that, the battle begins, and then you see GCPD officers, and then you see the tanks, and now the Batman comes out and fires with the bat, and now it's an all-out war. The GCPD versus the gangs and the mercenaries and the criminals out of Blackgate Prison. And now the battle intensifies, and now Bane is right there, joining in the ruffle scuffle of the mayhem. And now your Batman sees Bane, and Bane says, "Sir, you finally came to die." And Batman says, "No, I came to stop you." And now the battle goes intensifying in the music of Hans Zimmer. A little bit of more of razzle dazzle. Think of it as like the NHL, only it's a lot of fighting, but without the hockey sticks. And so for that, the battle gets intensified, and you see Bane trying to take up beating up a Batman. Hopefully if he's going to be victorious this time, but this time he's not going to be victorious. He is going to try to win this battle as much as he could to end this war, this crime war quickly. And guess what happens next? It seems that Bane is going to win, but Batman does have the upper hand to win this battle. So Batman's gonna have to rescue Miranda from in front of Bane. Of course, I have no idea where Miranda is, of course, and you know how things get messy and all that. And now that Batman is able to dislodge one of Bane's mask, he's trying to put it back on, but you know he can tell he's actually getting quite weak, and you can actually tell that he was actually breaking bricks. He is that strong to break bricks without the Venom formula, okay? Because there was no Venom formula in the Christopher Nolan universe. And so now, and he was going down with a gun, and he yells at Bane and says, "Where's the trigger? Where is it? You never get it to any ordinary citizen. Where's the trigger?" And Bane says, I broke you. And all that. And Batman says, "Tell me where the trigger is. Then, only then, you have my permission to die. Completely." Yeah, that's what he says. He finds the trigger, then then Batman has the permission to unalive Bane. Like, wow. But doesn't make him unalive. He just gets the coupling off the mask, if you want to know, that holds the pain. And so, yeah, it holds him, like, completely. And he says, and then you hear Miranda's voice out from the background. He says, "But I'm no ordinary citizen." He just stabs Batman on that one side of that weak point from where it just says, "Miranda, why? And she says the name's Talia. And she says the child who jumped with that leap of faith and says that was me, and I was carrying out my father's will. And he did not. The way he banished me because I loved him. I was carrying out my father's will until you killed him. Because why? Because he was going to blow up Gotham around the citizens, whether they're guilty or innocent. He does not. Batman does not want that. That was never part of his booklet. But the Al Ghul's have another thing coming, that Gotham needed to be cleansed. So once again, another servant who wants to do Ra's al Ghul's will by cleansing Gotham, being blown to bits or being wiped off the face of the earth. Batman says, every time you do this, you still need to learn your lesson, because it is not going to happen as kids. And so for that, she is telling them about this slow knife, moves in quickly, and then she holds the detonator in her hands because she can blow up the nuclear bomb, even though if it's not still in the timing waiting process, as not a failsafe. However, James Gordon has been given a device, thanks to Batman, that it could hold off the detonation signal if the bomb goes off by the trigger man. And so for that, he is able to make it in time because he got in one of the vehicles that carried the nuclear bomb. And Talia al Ghul said, Gordon, you gave him a device that blocks my signal. And she says that doesn't matter. He bought Gotham 11 minutes. And so they got 11 minutes to stop the nuclear bomb. And so she pulls out that knife that's from Batman's armor, because you know how it separates the plates that makes him vulnerable to more vulnerable to knives and gunfire. So even it's the soft padding that may help him to stop the knife that piercing from his skin, perhaps, or all the way. And yet somehow and now she tells him, goodbye, Ben, I want him to feel the heat. And now it says, I guess it's a good time for me to kill you. You'll just have to imagine the fire. And Catwoman comes out of nowhere with the Bat Pod, and she says, I don't know how I feel. And he says, you remember about that no killing rule thing? I'm not sure how I feel about it as strong as you are. Or after all of that. And so, and you see John Blake getting the kids with the bus, leading an exodus, and you see one of the people from those outside of Gotham, and he says, stop walking! If you cross this bridge, Gotham will get blown up. It says, then everyone will get blown up. Those orders have been expired. There's no more. And then they blow up the bridge, and Officer John Blake was as mad as hornets. Because those guys think they were doing the right thing. They were absolutely pretty stupid of them by blowing up the bridge because they thought their orders were not expired and absolute. They're just completely dumb as a fruitcake. So yeah, Solar! And now things are going to go from Hades in a hay basket. So yes, and going from troublesome things and all that, it was going to get really ugly. Yeah, because when Gotham was going to get blown to bits into a fiery explosion of a nuclear bomb, Batman has to have the time to need to rescue, and she tells Catwoman to blow a tunnel so everyone can escape out of here, even those because they need food and supplies. Even though the Catwoman says, "Come with me, you don't own these people anymore." He says, "Not until I save Gotham. I'll do what I have to do. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me." And that tells a lot of Batman's character. So he's going to try to reroute that signal, even though they have to disarm the bomb as quickly as you can. And Lucius Fox says, "You got to turn the truck east." And they're trying to force the truck east, and they're trying to force it to deactivate the reactor of the nuclear fusion bomb. And somehow, one last chance to get to stop the truck, but since Talia al Ghul does not give up and surrender, she's gonna have to do this. Batman's gonna have to do this the hard way, and this is what Talia al Ghul will get: the worst death scene ever. Even though it's kind of what happened when she says, "My father's will is done." Wrong. It's not going to be done. It's just going to be a failed, miserable opportunity plan as a terrorist attack group. And so for that, guess what? I mean, Talia al Ghul dies. Of course, how did Jim Gordon survive from that giant tumble down with that vehicle garbage truck? I will never know how he survived. I'm guessing it's a continuity error on that part of the movie as well, because the producers I'm not sure they're going to tell you, say, well, let's just say Jim Gordon survived the drop down of the garbage truck disposal. And guess what? He did, without a scratch. How is he doing this? Is he Superman? Did Superman save his skin by not getting hurt? No, I don't know. I mean, that is continuity error. I mean, really, how many errors are they going to throw in? Like, you're an error, that's an error, everything's an error, I don't get you, error! And now that John Blake tells him to go back on the bus, if he says, we can't go back to the bus, there's nothing left to shield us for because of that, I'm not sure if it's a Catholic priest, perhaps a priest, or perhaps, he says, can you just give them at least hope that shielded something besides faith or some sort, or have faith in you, or, well, wow, that priest does not do a good job by giving support, or how to stay strong in the faith, or in the word. How about keep the faith so you will not get blown up to bits? And so for that matter, and it says, everybody, get ready, here it comes! And you see the bomb, the bomb was being carried by the Bat, and it's none other than Batman. And Jim Gordon, before that happens, Jim Gordon says, I never knew who you really are, but you did a great thing for us at Gotham. And Batman said something about a kid who has his coat a coat or a jacket put around beside him when he was a little boy after the parents were died. And James Gordon figures out who Batman really is, and he says, Bruce Wayne. Yep, Batman is Bruce Wayne. And now he's taking the payload. He's got like 1 minute. He has to fly as fast and as high as he could. And guess what happens? Goes over to Gotham Bay, never looks back, and will not look back. And guess what happens? It'll explode in just about now. And he says that, and one of them says, that's detonation over at Gotham Bay. A huge, giant mushroom cloud looming over Gotham Bay. It was far away enough from the explosion from a radiation of 6 miles. And all of Gotham is safe for the last and final time. The Batman has saved Gotham. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4, not 5, not 6. I'm doing that LeBron James thing from Miami Heat, am I? Not 7, not 8. It's okay, several times. So yeah, he saved Gotham several times. And because of that, they're going to erect a statue of Batman. And now that that Detective John Blake says, sometimes you'll have to work things from the inside out, and I can't do it anymore. But hopefully, maybe I can do something that I can come out or come up with it. And then he get one of the people, and when he tries to go in to get name registered, he says, just use my full name. And one of the attendants says, Robin. That's a cool name. Robin, which is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who wants to be the Boy Wonder, is the Boy Wonder. No circus acrobatic skills, but that is an Easter egg reference that Nightwing is a member who works with the officers of Bloodhaven and the GCPD. So yeah, John Blake is the first Robin of the Christopher Nolanverse. When I said Christopher Nolanverse, I didn't mean the other versions, okay? Of course, the Easter egg by saying he's an officer shows that Robin did work with the officers at Bloodhaven. So there, he worked at Bloodhaven before, so Easter egg. And now, and you see Alfred crying over the tombstone, and he says, I'm sorry, I failed you. I failed to protect the Wayne family, and you entrusted me. And yeah, I mean, but does he really know that Bruce Wayne is dead? He's going to find out later that he is actually alive. And so, and now that you see Lucius Fox going to count all the things, there's no more crime, no more whatsoever for the time being, no more corrupted politicians or corrupted people who are for those who are working in office or somewhat, and so on and so forth. All of it is wiped clean, gone forever because of Batman's final heroic victory. He has rescued Gotham. All of Blackgate's prisoners are back in prison. And Arkham Asylum is back to where it belongs, on the right and proper way to have respect to show for Arkham Asylum. And Lucius Fox says, I don't remember that bat was being repaired fully. Who paid it? And he says, who paid it? And one of them says, Bruce Wayne. I'm like, what? So, Bruce Wayne survived the fiery nuclear explosion. How did he survive and get that radiation poisoning off so quickly? Like, I don't know. I'm guessing he had to swallow the radiation pill to remove the radiation poisoning, and even though he could have been burned and disintegrated into dust, and it kind of didn't happen, so he's kind of like Superbat. So, yes. And so John Blake was giving this map of directions of this piece of paper and goes into this well or this cavern, and then you hear the music, and then James Gordon finally gets the bat symbol back on the head of this giant headlight, and it's going to shine the light up in the sky once more around Gotham's night sky, both day and night, because now that most of crime is down to a minimum, I'm guessing John Blake is going to take up the next mantle as the Batman. And you hear this music intensify that you see Alfred Pennyworth having a spot of tea. Hello, time for tea time. Ta-ta! And you see Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle having the best time of their life. And now I believe that is like a great way to have send-off of the Christopher Nolan universe. Of Bruce Wayne and Selina Kyle are finally getting together, having a wiped, clean slate to start all over, brand new. And you see now John Blake sees the underground tunnels of this magnificent cave, and then you see this mechanism rise up, and guess what? Now that the music gets intensified, you hear the final notes of Hans Zimmer's music of the Batman theme, and then the music ends. And that shows the ending credits of the Dark Knight Rises movie. And I do believe that is the end of the Dark Knight Rises movie story. Thanks for watching. That is all of the Batman movies of the Christopher Nolan universe. The music directed by Hans Zimmer and James Newton Howard of the first two. The third movie of that piece of music is all Hans Zimmer. And that is all for To It, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to like, comment, favorite, and subscribe. And tell me, what do you guys think of the Dark Knight Rises movie? Or what do you think of the Dark Knight trilogy movies directed by Christopher Nolan? Do you like it or hate it? And mash that like button or share this video if you guys love watching Batman movies. And tell me, what is your favorite Batman movie of all time? And yes, BTAS will count, like The Mask of the Phantasm is one of the best and most spectacular, fantastic movies of all time that is animated. So for anyways, this is Leo Wolverine saying and speaking as always as your sensational special being who takes chances, makes mistakes, and get messy in Leo's Let's Plays Alliance. Godspeed, play safe, and shalom. See you guys next time for more of Arkham to Wednesday.